Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we'll continue with our third unit, which is titled If It Hadn't Happened. Our lesson today is the first part from the writing lesson in your books, page 42 and 43. All you need for the lesson today is your books, page 42 and 43, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started. From the previous lesson in your books, page 105, you had this exercise, exercise J. Look at the picture and write as many words as you can about how people benefit from jobs in oil industry. Write sentences explaining how things would have been different if oil hadn't been discovered. So let's first study the picture here. In here, we're having in this picture, we can see it is in the sea and they are trying to drill or dig down to come up with the oil. So we're speaking about oil industry. We will go back to the past, cancel oil, and come back to the present and imagine how would our lives look like without oil. Let's try to fill out how people benefit from jobs in oil industry. Let's come up with words. Security, employment, then also benefits, pay, education, housing, and higher level living standards. So you can come up with any word that is related to the job related to oil industry. Let's form sentences using F conditional. In here, if oil hadn't been discovered, industry wouldn't have developed in the way it has. So we start with F in an F conditional. Had, past perfect, hadn't been discovered, then the answer will be, or the result would have, past participle. Another sentence. If oil hadn't been discovered, automobiles wouldn't have developed the way they have. So we started with the past perfect, followed by would, in here, have done. Notice the comma that we are separating the two clauses. Number 3, if oil hadn't been discovered, a number of countries wouldn't have developed into rich nations. Started with past perfect in here, then you have to use a comma, the subject would have done something here, developed. So just refer to the grammar lesson and you can find out the answers for these. Let's continue. For our lesson today, by the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify a letter of advice. Also, you will be able to take notes on a written letter and analyze an advice letter. So we're going to read, analyze, take notes on an advice letter. Let's get started with this. This is the question. What kind of people do friends usually have? The problems that usually have with them. They are usually problems related to money. It could be problems related to time. If your friend is always too late for you, it would be a problem. Maybe we can discuss problems related to the idea of sharing things. They usually take my stuff or they always ask for them. Maybe it is a problem related to friends. Whenever you are going out, they will come up with topics that are irritating, that are annoying, things related to friends. How about you? What problems do you usually have or issues do you usually have with your friends? Everyone is having different problems with friends. Do you like sharing things with your friends? Why and why not? Let's speak about the idea of sharing. Things that belong to you and you share them with your friends. It could be your books, your clothing, even with your siblings, brothers and sisters. Do you like the idea of sharing? We usually say that sharing is caring. However, some people wouldn't prefer sharing their personal things. Why would you like to share? I love sharing things with my friends because I feel that when I share things with them, that we're having common relationship. I like sharing my things with others. However, others will say, no, I don't like sharing them. I feel that they are personal stuff for me and I don't like the idea of sharing. It depends on you whether you like it or not, and justify. Tell why would you like it, or you will say, no, I am totally against the idea of sharing. Okay, now in your book's page 42, here there is a letter actually. Try to scan the whole page and answer these questions. Number 1, who's writing the letter? The letter was written by Maryam. She is the one who had written the letter because you can find her name by the very end. So it was written by Maryam. And to whom it was sent? She said at the beginning, dear someone, so it is for that person. To Sabah. And what is the title? Usually the title in bigger font on the top of the letter. The title is actually Friendship is More Important. Friendship is more important. And what does the picture show? We have only one picture, which is a picture for a handbag in here. Here is a handbag, and it looks like a female handbag. Okay, so we're discussing a handbag issue. What do you think it is? Related to friendship. Could be sharing clothing. Now, listen while you're reading and tell what problem is discussed within the letter. What is the problem? This is an advice letter. What does it discuss? How is it related to the picture? To friendship is more important. Let's listen and you will tell.
Dear Saba, I am sorry you feel so sad about falling out with your best friend. I understand that she wanted to borrow your new bag before you had the chance to use it yourself. But as you say, she was invited to a wedding and she could not buy a new bag. I understand that it is difficult, maybe even unfair, to let someone else use something that you have just bought or been given. But surely, friendship is more important, even if it requires some sacrifices. So I am afraid I will agree with what you think. You should have let her borrow the bag. She would have been happy and grateful to you, and you would still be on good terms with your friend. You say you do not like sharing your things with people because they might damage them. You could have asked her to be careful with your bag. The point is, however, to put things into perspective. What is more valuable to you, your friend or your new bag? I would call and say I am sorry. I am sure she will understand, and if she has not already been to the wedding, offer her the bag. You will both be happier. I hope it all works out. Maryam.
So, what is the problem that is discussed in this letter? It is actually two friends. One of them asked for the other's handbag, however, the other one refused, or she didn't feel like the idea of sharing it. Now, we're having Maryam is giving advice to Sabah. Why would you refuse to give your friend the handbag? Okay. Now, let's listen one more time, and this time you will read the advice column and answer the questions. Why was Sabah sad? And what happened with her friend, and why? What is the column writer's advice? Let's listen again.
Dear Saba, I am sorry you feel so sad about falling out with your best friend. I understand that she wanted to borrow your new bag before you had the chance to use it yourself. But as you say, she was invited to a wedding and she could not buy a new bag. I understand that it is difficult, maybe even unfair, to let someone else use something that you have just bought or been given. But surely, friendship is more important, even if it requires some sacrifices. so I am afraid I will agree with what you think. You should have let her borrow the bag. She would have been happy and grateful to you, and you would still be on good terms with your friend. You say you do not like sharing your things with people because they might damage them. You could have asked her to be careful with your bag. The point is, however, to put things into perspective. What is more valuable to you, your friend or your new bag? I would call and say I am sorry. I am sure she will understand, and if she has not already been to the wedding, offer her the bag. You will both be happier. I hope it all works out. Mary M.
Okay, so why was Sabah sad? She was writing. She had written to the advisor because she didn't feel okay. She was sad because Sabah was sad because she had fallen out with her best friend. When you fall out with your friend, you had a problem, an issue together. Maybe it's a fight or just a misunderstanding. She had fallen out with her friend. Then what happened with her friend? Why did they fall out? Why had they fallen out with each other? Actually, Sabah's friends asked to borrow her new bag because she had a wedding to go to and couldn't afford to buy a new bag. So that one is the problem. The friend asked for the handbag, however, Sabah didn't like the idea of sharing her items. What was the column writer's advice, who is Miriam in this time? She said, the column writer advised Sabah to call her friend and apologize, to say sorry, to say that she was sorry, and moreover to offer to lend her bag to her friend, if she still needed it. So she is at the side with the friend. I would recommend that you give her the bag and to apologize for what you have done. Friendship is more important than items. Okay. Now, do you agree with the column writer's opinion? Why or why not? What did she say? She actually had said, you should have let her borrow the bag. You could have asked her to be careful with your bag. I would call and say I'm sorry. I am sure she will understand, and if she hasn't already been to the wedding, offer her the bag. So we can tell that actually the writer, this time is Maryam, she is at the side with the friend. She's not with Sabah. She said, you were wrong because you didn't give her your bag. Friends are always there together. So do you agree with the column writer? Maybe you can say, yes, I agree. Friendship is more important than things. Or maybe you will say, no, I don't agree. I am totally with Sabah. Things that belong to me are mine, and I have all the right to say, to agree or to disagree with the idea of sharing. Okay. The same page 42. What would you have done if your friend had wanted to borrow something new that belonged to you? So how about you if you were at the situation of Sabah? Would you lend your friend your handbag, your new handbag? Maybe it's not a handbag, it's a t-shirt or something that is valuable to you. Would you give it to your friend? You can tell whether yes, I would give it to them, or you will say no. I am totally against sharing my personal things. So I would have lent them what they wanted. You can say I might have apologized if I were Sabah. And you can say I could have offered them something else. Not the valuable or the new one. I could offer them any other thing. You could apologize and you will say yes, I would give them my new items. Read the advice again one more time and notice the first part of each paragraph. Why do you think the writer has chosen to address the issue in this manner? What is the effect? Let's take them one line from each paragraph, the first line from each paragraph. The first line started, I am sorry you feel sad about falling out with your friend. The second, I understand that it's difficult, maybe even unfair, to do this or that. You say that you don't like this or that sharing your items. I would call and say that I am sorry. And the last paragraph, which is the ending, I hope this or that. You can notice that we're having 4 or 5 paragraphs has started with the pronoun I. So, because you're asking for my advice, I believe, this is what I think. So the start with I, it makes the reply like more personal, as if we were friends. I'm telling you, what if I were you? What if I were in your situation? Also, in the first 2 paragraphs, I'm sorry that you feel sad about falling out with your friends. I understand that it's difficult or maybe unfair. When we're reading these 2 sentences, we can find out that it shows understanding and makes Sabah feel that Maryam knows how she feels. So when someone tells you, I am sorry that you feel so, I understand how you feel, I have been through the same situation. It gives me the sense that this person can feel how I felt. And it gives a sense that she knows how I feel and she understands me. Also, we're having the third paragraph. You say that you don't like this or that. What was Maryam trying to do in here? It indicates that Maryam has read Sabah's letter very carefully. You have mentioned that you like helping your friends. What about lending her your handbag? So, it is the idea of repeating the same words or to make an echo. Rewrite some of the sentences again in your own words to show that I have read your letter carefully. Also, paragraph number 4, I would call and say I am sorry. And here it indicates that Maryam identifies with Sabah and tells her what she would do in her place to advise her without patronizing her or wanting to sound reprimanding. What do we mean in here? Maryam is putting herself at her situation. If I were you, I would do this. And this is the core for the advice letter. My advice to you, just call your friend, apologize, offer her a new bag. I'm not giving you a command. I'm telling you, if I were you, I would do this or that. And by the end, it is your own decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So we're not patronizing. We're not giving you commands. I am just suggesting for you. So it is much more like a friendly letter rather than a command one. Okay, let's take them one paragraph by one. When we're having the first paragraph, she started with Dear Sabah. To be much more formal, we will start with Dear and notice after the name capital letter, and we will have here a comma. Dear friend. Then she said, I am sorry that you feel so sad about falling out with your best friend. She's trying to sympathize with her, and she's telling her that I can feel how you feel. I understand that she wanted to borrow your bag. Now in here, she's trying to echo the problem, to echo Sabah's letter, to tell that I have read it and I can feel how you felt. Also, but you say that she was invited to the wedding and she couldn't buy a new bag. You also said, Maryam is here echoing, repeating the word. Yes, you said that you don't like sharing, however, your friend is in a problem. So, repeating them and trying to justify the friend's situation. The second paragraph, I understand that it is difficult or maybe unfair. Maryam here is trying to tell that I can understand your situation and how you feel. But surely friendship is more important and it requires some sacrifices. Now it is clear how the how the writer is trying to, what she is trying to give, what advice she's trying to give. She's totally with the friend rather with, we're having here this time Sabah. I'm afraid I will agree with your friend. So she admitted, I am totally with your friend. And you should have let her borrow the bag. This is the first time she mentioned you should have done that. It's not blaming or regretting or trying to make her feel regret. No, this time, this is my advice for you. She would have been happy and grateful. Why she's saying so? She's trying to justify why you should have given her the bag. Then, here in the following paragraph, you say you don't like sharing. One of the things that you have mentioned that you don't like sharing. However, there is one excuse that you can do. One more thing, you could have asked her to be more careful. If it is because you don't like sharing, because it could have been damaged, you can tell her to be more careful. What is more valuable to you, your friend or your bag? Now I'm giving you your chance to think about it. Think, is it the handbag or your friend? Think about it, and it is your own decision. By the very end, she said, I would call and say I'm sorry. If I were you, I would do so. I am sure she will understand, so don't worry, just do it. And one more thing, offer her the handbag. Just justifying, we're having this time Miriam's point of view. Just do these things, they will be helpful. And by the end, a polite closing. I hope it all works out. And she had written her name by the very end, which is Miriam. She can write her, maybe the column writer, Miriam, or whoever. On page 42, is the letter reprimanding or friendly? From the choice of word, I am sorry that you feel so sad. I understand that it's difficult. I'm afraid I will agree. And you say you don't like sharing things, and you could have asked. It showed that it is much more friendly than giving commands. You can notice from the words, I understand, I can feel how you felt. However, it's not giving commands. All it is about is a friendly letter. Then we have said, if I were Sabah, what would you do? If I were Sabah, I would lend the bag to my friend. I could ask her to be more careful with the bag, and I might offer her another bag. So think about it. What if you were Sabah? What would you do? I would do this rather than that, or I would do the same. You can tell I would do the same. Some of the words that were mentioned in the letter, the word requires. Requires needs for a particular purpose. If you want to, let's say, passing the course requires needs studying. So pets require a lot of care and attention. How about sacrifice? Friendship requires sacrifice. Give up something for the sake of other consideration. You have to sacrifice to get rid of something, so you will get another thing. So in here, working hard doesn't mean sacrificing your social life. Work hard and you can do your social life. What do we mean by friendship? A relationship between friends. And by the way, ship, the suffix, it means relationship. So a relation between friends. Friendship, parentship. Then our friendship lasts for 10 years. So we are friends since 10 years. Let's try to use these words. We're having the first word, friendship between friends or relationship between friends. It requires, needs some sacrifices, just like giving them your new bag or sharing your items with them. So, for a letter of advice in your books, The Writing Corner, page 43, at the beginning you have to get the facts. When you get the facts, you are referring and summarizing, referring to the complaint letter that you have received. You are echoing, repeating their own words and summarizing what they have said. Also, points of view. You have to think about all sides. Maryam, we're having Sabah's side and her friends. Just put yourself at your friend's situation. Also, the tone. You have to be friendly, not patronizing or judgmental. You're not going to blame the one who had written to you. They came to you because they need advice, not to judge them and give them bad words. You should be understanding. Understand their situation, but do not lie to them. Always be honest, but polite. And by the very end, the suggestions, always they are asking for your advice. You will give them advice or a suggestion. It's not a command. Do. You should. If I were you, I would do this or I would do that. So it will be more formal and more polite. For your homework, write an outline for we're having an advice letter. Try to write your own advice letter. Okay? Guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.